There has been huge new news for all classes in Season of Discovery. These changes are live now. There is huge buffs, huge nerfs. There is a lot to go over. Some of these are really exciting and some of these are not so exciting. So starting off then on this blue post, this is out today, by the way, after the maintenance. We've got Druids with their Star Surge. So Star Surge rune ability increased by 182%. Star Surge cooldown reduced to 6 seconds was 10 seconds, and Star Surge mana cost reduced to 1% base mana, and it was 3% base mana. So, putting it quite simply, TLDR, Star Surge was a waste of time, okay? Previously, especially like in Druid PvP, we've just been spamming a lot of Sunfire, and taking the Star Surge rune just didn't have any benefit because an instant portion, the instant damage portion of Sunfire was doing more than Star Surge was anyway. Like, it's literally pointless. Do I think this is going to be enough? Maybe. It's definitely been more competitive than it was, but I still don't know if this is really going to change things. The cooldown, I think, is really going to help, especially that the mana cost has also been reduced, but I think we're going to have to wait and see what this really means in actual playability for us as Druids. Next up is Hunters, and Hunters are the one spec that I don't play a lot of. I know there's been a hell of a lot of changes. Flanking Strike now gains the benefit of weapon enhancements like Sharpening Stones, which is a buff. This is now on global cooldown and is properly treated as a melee attack, letting it benefit from attack power and combat modifiers to dodge, parry, block, crit, hit, etc., which is fantastic. Previously it did not. Then we've got Flanking Strike is now prevented by Pacify, which, you know, pacifies an enemy, rendering it unable to attack for 10 seconds, and it now requires a weapon equipped. Flanking Strike pet damage is now properly treated as a melee attack, also with the same benefits listed above for the Hunter's damage. There are additional changes to normalize Hunter pet performance. It says here these are still to be determined. Well, guess what, girlfriend? I've got news for you. This has already come out. We're going to cover that again in a minute. Next up is Priest. This is one of the classes I do main. Priest Homunshuli, or however you pronounce it, the damage has been increased by 100%. This is really interesting, okay? One, I love this rune. This is the one that spawns little shadowy versions of yourself. Secondly, it's evil, okay? The AI on it is horrific. Sometimes they're pulling mobs you don't want. They're not attacking the mobs you're attacking. They're just running around doing whatever they're doing. They're honestly useless, okay? The debuffs they put on your target are really good, but I don't think 100% damage is really going to do anything. Like, can you actually just fix the rune? Like, I don't care how much damage it does, just fix how it even works. So I'm a bit kind of upset about that. Void Plague damage increased by 200%. I'm really happy with. I use this a lot, and I don't think it's really doing much damage at all at the moment. You know, it's another damage over time, like our Shadow Word Pain, and I think this is going to be a huge increase. I'm really happy about this. Twisted Faith now increases the damage done by Mind Blast and Mind Flay by 50%, was 20% on targets afflicted with Shadow Word Pain. I think this is obviously a really good buff to Shadow Priests as well. I still don't think this is enough. Yes, it's nice. Yes, I appreciate it. But honestly, give me more, you know? Do we agree, priests? Like, do we agree? I think we are. Next up is Rogue, Saber Slash Shiv, and Main Gauche will now properly consume Remorseless Axe. This is fantastic. Saber Slash's tooltip is fixed, damage not reduced, and Saber Slash damage is now properly considered bleed effects and does benefit from Mangle. This is really going to improve Rogue's DPS. Do I think it's going to be massive and a game changer? No, not really. But again, it is a welcomed change. Then we've got Shaman with Lava Lash damage increased to 150%, up from 100% of weapon damage, and Lava Lash mana has been reduced to 1% of base mana. It was 4%, further increasing our mana. Overload's chance to trigger has been upped from 33 to 50%. Again, this is fantastic. This is much, much better. And the dual wield specialization has been changed so that it grants 10% increased chance to hit while dual wielding, because this was a big issue. We just couldn't hit enough. There was a lot of issues with this in raiding that I saw personally, and sometimes in dungeons. Boon of Black Fathom, which is the world buff increasing your chance to crit with spells, melee and range by 2, grants 20 attack power, increases movement speed, has been adjusted. It's now going to be 3% spell hit and 25% spell power buff in addition to the physical damage and movement speed that was previously spell crit. And I have put here, like I just said, actually, spellcasters in general are struggling a bit in BFD, mostly due to the poor scaling without spell power and a high requirement of spell hit to reliably hit creatures 2+ levels above the caster. Keep those chrono boons handy and don't stand in the fire and lose your buff. Going then on to some remaining Hunter and Black Fathom Deeps changes that were then announced after this first one. We've got these following hotfixes. Hunter pet attack values have been updated to scale better with Hunter attack power. How ominous. Developers note, pets that cast spells such as the Scorpid poison or lightning breath were scaling too well, and pets using physical abilities were scaling too little. We've now normalized this amount of attack power gained to scale with the focus cost of individual pet abilities, meaning that abilities of a higher focus cost are less often cast. We will receive more benefit from attack power per attack than abilities of a lower focus attack that can generally be used more often. Overall, it's going to level out the damage and reduce situations where abilities were scaling too much or too little with a hunt attack power. Scorpid Poison now distributes the additional damage it gains from attack power evenly over each stack of Scorpid Poison on the target, whereas previously the poison received most of its benefit from the hunter's attack power in the very first stack. Now the additional damage gained from the controlling hunter will not be gained until the full 5 stacks of poison are on the target, increasing the ramp time a little bit and making it less immediately deadly in PvP. Okay, quite interesting there. I think the way they're doing with hunters, it just seems like the devs cannot get it right, and they're just kind of floundering. Like, do you know what I mean? They are literally just like, oh, we're upping it, we're downing it. They don't have a clue what is going on. Pets are also now going to receive a smaller portion of a hunter's armor and stamina. The thing around here then is, I'm very aware, and you may be too, hunters were starting to be tanking and they don't want this. I think this is a really interesting opinion because you're making warlocks tank, you're making rogues tank, you're making shaman tank. And I'm not saying I don't agree with warlocks and shamans tanking, but you're telling me that you thought a rogue would make a better tank in Season of Discovery than a hunter would with pets? Make it make sense, because that's ludicrous, okay? And they're trying to actually get away from that. I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. I think this is ridiculous. You know, we can tame, I'm not sure if we can in Classic, but like, you know, there's like rhinos and really big tanky pets. You could, you know, a scorpion, looking at anatomically, is actually an armored kind of looking creature, and being that as a tank could be really cool. And the fact that they're trying to get away from that, I think honestly is a really bad move on Blizzard's part. I think that Season of Discovery should be putting in more flexibility from classes, not less. But hey ho, we'll see what happens. Hunters' pets were gaining far too much durability from hunter stats, to the point where some pets could get more than double the health and armor of a well-geared level 25 player. We still, I mean, that's understandable. We still want dedicated hunters to have the ability to tank certain dungeon and raid encounters, but pets shouldn't be so effective that they become the objectively correct choice. I can understand then if they're saying that they don't want it to be always pets, no other tanks are going to get in, but I do think they should make it into a viable spec for all bosses in raid. Aspect of the Lion has been redesigned and will now function as an aura. I think that's a good thing. This means that it's possible to have Aspect of the Lion up in addition to another aspect, like Aspect of the Hawk. I think this is great, as an offset to the lower amount of damage that some hunter pets will deal, and to make talents such as improved aspects of the hunter more attractive to hunters using Aspect of the Lion. We're shifting this into an aura rather than an aspect. This change will go into effect with a scheduled weekly maintenance tomorrow, that's today, and the tooltip will not yet change. A few last things then in Black Fathom Deeps themselves. Elemental resistances lowered in Black Fathom Deeps, level more appropriate for a level 25 raid. Fantastic. Gelahar Shadow resist lowered to 25, was 75. This is going to be great for priests as well. I've been moaning about priests. This is going to make things easier for us. Lorgus Jet Nature resist lowered to 25, was 75. People like druids, this is going to be great for. Haven't actually done the raid on druid. We'll see how this actually turns out. Phantasmal Priestess all resist lowered to 0, so it's no longer bad news if double casters are sent down to the dream in phase 1. Okay, this is really good. Invading Nightmare Shadow and Fire resist from 25 again. Void Elementals, same again, and Corrosive Droplets, Nature Resamid again. And so on those Nightmare Shadows and Void Elementals, that is Shadow and Fire for the Invading Nightmare and Shadow for the Void Elementals. Frost Resist on the Corrosive Droplets again was actually reduced to 0, and that was 25. So overall, I think Blizzard are listening here for once in their lives, and this is actually all really good changes for the most part. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and if you want to discuss this more, feel free to join my Discord where I get all this news out sooner than ever, and if you want to see these videos even quicker, then feel free to join my Patreon.